Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Voivod and this is Star Wars 7x7, your daily dose of Star Wars joy, and thank you so much for joining me for it. And thank you especially to the people who help make this possible for you every single day with their support at patreon.com/SW7x7. So there was this thing called Ubisoft Forward not too long ago. It's basically Ubisoft, the video game company's opportunity to showcase new things going on with the video games that they're working on, and they are working on, among other things, Star Wars Outlaws, which is coming out on August 30th. So they shared new gameplay footage to folks, and of course they posted it online along with a gameplay trailer situation. And so yeah, I thought it would be fun to just flag a couple of things about that. Probably the big headline news is the appearance of Kira in the new footage that they released. So it had been rumored for some time that she might show up, or speculated, I guess, because Crimson Dawn is one of the syndicates that you, as Kay Vess, the scoundrel and outlaw, get to work with. And so, if Crimson Dawn's there, is it possible Kira could show up? Well, they confirmed that in the footage, and she appears to be on the planet Kijimi. She has one line of dialogue about, is this how you expected things to end? Like that kind of thing. And I don't know who's voicing her, but the stuff I'm reading is saying that Emilia Clarke is not voicing her necessarily, which is a bit of a bummer, but whoever is voicing her is doing a great job. And Kira is not the only familiar scoundrel who shows up in the new footage that they've released. There's a moment where Kay sits down at a sabacc table, and at that table is none other than the galaxy's smoothest scoundrel, Lando Calrissian. He is wearing one of his bright yellow shirts like the ones that Donald Glover wore in the Solo movie. And I think we have a similar situation. I don't think Donald Glover is voicing the character here. Again, still sounds like Lando. Like, it's close enough in the neighborhood where you're like, oh man, this is really cool. And I gotta say, from the gameplay that they showed, I have talked on the podcast before about how there are some video games I can play, but I personally can't play some of them because I get nauseous in first-person shooters, which is difficult and unfortunate. But I do get to watch gameplays and playthroughs and experience the story that way. And what I'm seeing from the initial gameplay looks just really exciting and just beautifully, beautifully created. I mean, yeah, the worlds of Akiva and Tatooine and all these other planets that they're showing off so far are spectacularly rendered. And there's also a ton of Arabesh around in the scenes that they were showing. Arabesh being the language or the alphabet in the Star Wars galaxy. So there's just a ton of stuff that you can translate. There are moments where when Kay is reading something on a screen, it'll show you the screen and it'll briefly show it in the Arabesh characters, and then it will switch into Galactic Basic or English, so that way you can read it as a player. And the footage also talks about the expert situations where I guess there are experts that you can find in various places throughout the galaxy to help you build your skills in the game. And then there are also various reputational things that you can do, like you can decide to take actions that will improve or lower your reputation with various syndicates. And I imagine there are situations where you might find yourself having to decide whether you want to improve your reputation with one syndicate at the expense of another. There's also some brief history shared, like there's a space station near Akiva where it used to be a Clone Wars supply depot, and now it's a hub for underworld activity, and there are all these merchants that are working with various syndicates and whatnot. There's stuff shared about Mos Eisley and Tatooine, and that it has been controlled by the Hutts economically, but the fact that the Imperial presence has been expanding on Tatooine and in Mos Eisley, it's actually kind of hurting business for the Hutts at some level. And they also shared a little bit of a mission where you're supposed to find information on some gunslinger to improve your blaster skills, which means you have to go to a Hutt storehouse and you have to sneak in to find information about this, but unfortunately it doesn't stay quiet for long. But it showcases how you get to use Nyx, the little creature that runs along with you, and you can have him attack people and use him as a distraction while you then sneak up and pound on people. And I'll link to the two videos that Ubisoft shared the last couple of days. If you want to check them out yourself, they'll be at the blog post for this show's episode at sw7x7.com and in the show notes as well. There's also a note about Trailblazer, which is Kay Vess's ship, and that it is the last of its kind. And I gather from other stuff that I've seen and read that she steals that ship from the big bad of the game. And so that might be yet another one of the reasons why he is not particularly keen on her and wants to see her, captured at best and killed at worst. At least that's, from his perspective. I think Kay, if she gets captured by him, would probably rather die than actually be taken alive. But yeah, who knows? Anyway, so the preview actually looks really fun, and the transitions between the gameplay and the cinematics look really smooth, although I grant you that everything here could possibly be a little bit managed, if you will. Right? And they put work in progress stuff on the screen so that way you know that this isn't necessarily final gameplay stuff. But man, I'm really excited. I'm seeing things that say that the gameplay is like 30 or 40 hours if you want to complete the whole thing, but that if you're an actual full-on completist and you want to do every single possible thing that the game offers, that it's like 50 or 60 hours. So that is a heck of a lot of Star Wars storytelling being packed into this thing, and so I'm pretty excited for it. So that's what I've got for you on today's episode of the show. If you enjoy this daily dose of Star Wars joy, please consider helping me get the word out about it. You can do that with ratings and reviews. You can just tell people about this daily dose of Star Wars joy. You can leave likes and comments and do the follow and join and subscribe thing, right? All of that helps. And you can even help me as an independent creator produce this daily dose of Star Wars joy. And you can learn more about that at patreon.com/sw7x7. So it just remains for me to say thank you so much for joining me for this episode as always, and may the Force be with you wherever in the world you may be.
7x7 is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox, and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited, or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyrighted by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.